It's November 2022. Well, what's going on with the market? Big question is, will interest rates keep rising? Well, we saw inflation come down a little bit last week, which was great, brought interest rates down about 0.5% as well. So that's a great sign. The question is, have we peaked on inflation numbers? Maybe. If we have, maybe we've peaked on mortgage rates. So, there was a quote that came out from Mark Fleming, chief economist, First American, said, well, mortgage rates are expected to continue to drift higher over the coming months, much of the rapid increase in rates is likely behind us. We may see some fluctuation up or down, but the big hikes, for the most part, are probably done for the year. So that's a good thing. The question that I keep asking, well, if we hit a recession, how is the market going to hold up? Over time, besides 2008, where we have had, a mortgage meltdown caused the recession, overall home prices have kind of been okay. Interest rates have dropped and prices have actually increased a little bit through past recessions. A lot of the consensus is that, we will hit a recession in the U.S. in 2023. I think the Fed is kind of looking for probably a 4 or 5% unemployment rate, looking to get that inflation down. So, like I said, just because, we've had recession, if we do have a recession, doesn't mean that that's going to lead to home prices decline. So when we're looking at things, what does a recession mean? That means that we may have a little bit less buyers out there, but that means that hopefully the Feds will reverse their policy and start bringing the Fed funds rate down, which will hopefully bring the mortgage rates down as well. So everybody, if you bought at a higher rate, you'll refinance, and it will make things more affordable for people who come in to stimulate the economy. Kind of that always seesaw kind of effect. So where do home prices go for 2023? I've said this for about a year now. I think they're going to bounce. I think the average across the board is probably about 5 to 10%, depending on the person you talk to, for 2023. If home prices decline by 5%, home that needs work, backs to highways, on a main road, whatever the case is, that may dip a little bit. The house that's got the nice big flat yard and is, renovated and has nice size rooms, that's probably going to go over the asking price, especially if interest rates dip. Because we're not looking for a major meltdown in the market. We are seeing stable. The reality of it is that there's going to be a lot less inventory on the market, which is going to keep that floor, to housing prices. So if we see a little bit of a dip, so be it. If you're looking at things, we can discuss whether now's the right time, next year, 2 years, whatever the case is. But people are making a move based on life factors. It's not just, hey, the market's up, let me sell, or hey, the market's down, let me buy. They're making those decisions to buy and sell real estate based on what's going on in their lives. So Ken Leifert, Deputy Chief Economist from Freddie Mac, put out, well, there may be little statistical difference between a small positive number and a small negative number. There are often huge differences in how they may impact behavior. A lot of this comes down to consumer confidence. When we look at it, when the rates went from 6 to 7, that 30-day period, let's say, everybody was on the sidelines. They didn't know what that meant. Was we're all going to collapse? Are we going to be in recession? Should we hold off? Once it stabilized, even at 7.25, people said, okay, if I can still afford it now, I want to buy a house. I want to get, the kids in the home. I want the backyard. I don't want to do any more renting. Rents up. I'm going to buy. And we saw this a couple times over the summer months as well with the big rate increases. When it's a big jump, we see people on the sidelines to see what's going on for about 30 days. Once it settles, people say, okay, if I can afford it, I'm still going to go do it. So, it's a strong market for what it is. We have to adjust that it's not 2021. You're not seeing 10 offers on every property. I know myself, I have to adjust sometimes. We're home on the market for a week and we had, 5 showings on it, which is great. And there's not 4 offers. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? So it's going through that, understanding the change in the market and kind of using some experience and projections of what's going forward. A lot of people will say, well, is there going to be a foreclosure crisis? I was on a panel yesterday and we were talking about foreclosures. There's not going to be a huge influx. The ones that are coming on, yes, you're going to see more than 2021 because there were no foreclosures. It was a moratorium. So you'll see those numbers that they're up. Doesn't mean that they're up dramatically here. The ones that are hitting the auction right now at the courthouse are probably started in 2012, 2013. Any of the new stuff, people probably have equity still in their home, and you're going to see a lot less people coming on as foreclosures because they could sell their homes and they still have equity left in their property. And the big thing that we talk about, yes, there's still a lack of inventory out there. So I get a question a lot, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? So let me give you my thoughts on each one. Is it a good time to buy? If you can afford today's interest rates and you're ready to make that purchase, you should buy. And I told people that when rates were 2.75% as well. If it's the right time for you in your life and you can afford it, I think you should buy. Is it the right time for you to sell? Well, honestly, that really depends on life factors. Where are you going? Do you have something already? Do you need to buy something? Does this property have steps that you can't do anymore? Do you need a bigger home because the family's getting bigger? Based on you and what is going on for you, property values are always going to fluctuate 5 or 10%. Your retirement accounts are always going to fluctuate. The main thing is when you start doing with like retirement planning is, okay, when you're hitting 50 years old, you want to get less aggressive and be more conservative so you have a shorter time horizon. Main thing to remember is, can you afford it and what's right for you? So if you want to kind of go over those options, see what's what. Hope you enjoyed the market report. Hope you have a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. Feel free to reach out if you need anything.